好多人连5天都吃不起，你不知道吗？
那他妈关我什么事情啊？我他妈是个卖神油的，我管得了那么多人吗？
Before he became the medicine god, Mike was just a businessman who didn't care if patients lived or died. When Jim finally saw his true colors, he left behind a table full of bloody glass and an angry silhouette. Si Hui and the pastor realized there was no turning back. They said thanks and walked away. Only Jack still hoped for a miracle.
是不是得多了？滚！
Just when Jack's life seemed to have a little hope, a single word from Mike crushed it all. The 3 masks he once took off in front of Mike were now back on. Their friendship had come to an end. A few days later, Mike used his money to open a textile factory. A year later, his life was more comfortable than ever. He had more employees working for him, but his expression always looked like he was wearing a mask. Gone was the peace and joy from when he was with his old friends. Guilt kept him from reaching out to them. But one day, Jack's wife came looking for him. She cried and told Mike. The fake drug dealers kept raising prices, and now one was on the run after getting reported. Jack had been out of medicine for a long time. His situation was really bad. They had nowhere else to turn and begged Mike to bring medicine again. But Mike had something urgent and could only leave in a hurry. Seeing the woman kneeling in pain in his rearview mirror made Mike feel torn inside. When he finally saw Jack again, Jack had been in his hospital bed for a long time. In just a year, the illness had worn him down to nothing. Mike couldn't bear to look. Just then a nurse came in to clean Jack's wounds. Jack bit down on a towel, and soon the room filled with his gut-wrenching screams. He went through this kind of agony almost every day. Every scream felt like it was burning Mike's soul. Jack's wife sat nearby, empty and hollow. She cried so many tears for her husband's pain. She had nothing left to ease his friend's pain. Mike decided to go back to India and brought back a whole bag of medicine. Walking through the smoggy streets of India, he stared at the passing Buddha statues. Now he finally understood. There's no God that saves you from hardship, only people who step up. In the thick smoke and dust, he found clarity in his heart. Sadly, Jack didn't make it until he came back. At Jack's funeral, Mike saw many patients. They all wore masks. They once found hope in affordable medicine, but after Mike gave up, they were left to face the sky-high prices and wait for death. With Si Hui and the pastor's help, Mike got back the agency rights to the medicine and reconnected with the old group leaders. What really moved him was that Jim, who once left angry, hearing about Mike's choice, he opened up for the first time in the sunset. He hadn't been home in ages, afraid to drag his family into this. Mike told him to go see his family, even joked he should get a haircut so he wouldn't scare them. Jim laughed. When he looked at Mike, there was no more wall, just trust and warmth. With Jim's help, the generic drugs got moving again, but that also brought the attention of the police. They started bringing patients in for questioning. That's when an elderly patient stood up, shaking, spoke for all of them.
我就是想求求你，别再追查印度药了，行吗？那药假不假，我们能不知道吗？那药才卖500块钱一瓶，药贩子根本没赚钱，谁家能背上个病人？你就能保证你这一辈子不生病吗？啊？